Now, let us see the reproduction in human beings. We have seen the reproduction in plants, now reproduction in animals, but here we are not discussing the reproduction, various modes of reproduction in lower forms of organisms or animals. We are going to discuss about the reproduction in human beings. So here the human reproduction is of sexual type. Sexual reproduction involves two organisms of different gender, one male and one female. Two organisms are involved in this process of reproduction. And one more point we discussed earlier, for the process of reproduction, reproductive cells are needed. When an organism, either man or woman, male or female, is capable of producing reproductive cells, then that organism is eligible for reproduction. Means then that organism can participate in reproduction. To participate in reproduction, the organism should be able to produce the reproductive cells. When this happens? So in our life, in our growth pattern, there are various stages which are controlled by hormones, which we discussed in the previous chapter. A baby is born. A young baby cannot reproduce. The baby has to grow. You see the different events that takes place at particular ages, the changes that takes place in our bodies at particular stages as an events. When we are born, we don't know anything. Simple response to the stimuli. Just for pain, pressure and hunger, we cry as a baby. The baby grows to 6 months, baby smiles, baby learns social smiling, baby gets teeth. So why does the baby get teeth only at 6 months of age? Of course, it may be different from baby to baby at 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, but there is one stage, approximately 5th month or 6th month or 7th month, varies from baby to baby, depends upon the nutrition and other conditions. But only at that point it is initiated. That is because of hormones. The baby grow into a kid, right? So when they attain the age of 6 years, they lose their milk teeth and they get the permanent teeth. So only at some point, some change is triggered in our body, in everybody's body. Everybody at 6 years to 7 years of age, they lose their teeth and they get new teeth. That all happens because of hormones. So in our body, the changes, the physical changes are programmed like that. This program is fixed in the DNA. So you see at 6 years, we lose milk teeth and we get the permanent teeth. Then the kids grow. They attain some age of 11, 12, 13 years. You call them as teenagers. At this stage, we call a change in our bodies. We call that particular group as adolescents. Earlier we call as infants, 0 to 2 years infants. Then babies, kids we call them as. After the teens we call them as. At this period, what you say is some 12 years above. We call them as adolescents, 13, 14, 15 and 16 years of age. We call it as adolescence. So this is the age, some 16 or 17. This is the age where you attain the sexual maturation or sexual maturity. Sexual maturity. What is sexual maturity? The sexual organs, they mature, means they become ready or prepared to produce reproductive cells. Sexual maturity means the organism, if you say one organism is attained sexual maturity, means that organism is able to produce sex cells, that means germ cells. So when it happens, you see the male, boy and girl, they need to have some age, at a specific age. That is, as I told you, it is not exactly same for all the children. You see that female, if you see the girls, the sexual maturation process may start at 11 years or 12 years or 13 years. So it starts, it initiates. So how it is initiated? By hormones. And how do we know that the changes are initiated? They are observed by some changes in their body, physical changes. We can observe it. Okay, this girl is becoming adolescent. You can observe it. This boy is becoming adolescent. We can observe that. And you yourself, you can recognize, you yourself, you can identify the changes in your body, which happens during the period of adolescence. That is because of the reproductive hormones produced in male and female. In the hormones lesson, in the control coordination lesson, I already told you about the hormones. In males, testosterone starts produced, and this testosterone brings the sexual characters in males, and estrogen brings sexual characteristics in females. Why physical changes? These physical changes enable the opposite sex to identify the other organism is capable of reproducing. That is the reason. And let us see what are the physical changes you observe. You see, if it is in case of the boys, when they attain the age of 12, 13, 14, during this period, their body increases in height, growth increases, the size of bones increases, bones size, body size increases. So here let us see what kind of physical changes, noticeable, observable changes takes place when the sexual maturation starts in the body of boys and girls. So here in case of the boys, you see the growth. The growth is at maximum rate. So quickly, so fast they grows up. Till the age of 12, they'll be like small kids. Suddenly they starts increasing the height. They go to 5 feet, 6 feet tall. The length of the bones increases. So that is the one noticeable character we observe. The initial thing we observe, growth. And we observe the cracked voice. Cracked voice. The voice, it changes. There is a difference between the voice of a man and between the voice of a boy. Boy's voice is a very high pitched voice. Man voice is a low pitched bass voice. Now this voice will be in between, shuffling between boy voice and man's voice. Such cracked voice is developed because some changes in the vocal cords. That is due to this sexual maturation, the impact of the hormones, cracked voice, growth of hairs, growth of hair on the body. So we see that we'll be having very thin hair on the body by birth, but at certain places the growth of the hair is observed, especially during the sexual maturation, formation of mustache and beards, formation of hair in the armpits and in the genital areas. And sometimes for some people, depending upon their genetic nature, depends upon their parents, the hair is grown throughout whole the body, that is on the chest, on the back, on the hands. So in such a way the hair is grown. The growth of the hair especially starts at this stage when they attain the sexual maturation. So this is one indication that they are attaining the sexual maturity. So growth of the hairs. This is also observed. The skin, it becomes oily. More sebum is secreted in the skin. Because of overproduction of oil, the skin may be attracting more and more bacteria and sometimes may leads to pimples. And a lot of body odor, bad smell is also generated because of the working of bacteria on this oil and other substances found on this skin. And growth of genital organs. Growth of genital organs. Penis in case of males. So these are the various secondary sexual characters that are observed in the boys. These characters show that the organism is turning capable of producing the germ cells. So you see that occasionally the penis, it becomes erect. It is due to the influence of the hormone. Actually, all these things are under the control of the hormone, that is the testosterone, the male reproductive organ hormone. So here these are the physical changes. Internally, what happens? That is, in the reproductive organ called as testis, the production of reproductive cells takes place, germ cells takes place in the testis. That is also due to the influence of testosterone, the germ cells are produced. Okay, we'll discuss it later. Now let us see in case of the girls also, we see most of the things same common. We see the growth of their height, their body increases in size, but a voice wise you will not see that any changes there, because the voice, and here you see their bone size increases, bones width at specific locations, like their hip size increases, hip bone size increases, and their breasts increase in size. It is due to accommodate mammary glands. The mammary glands are the glands which produce milk. In case they give birth to young one, to feed the young one, the mammary glands need to supply milk. So that is the reason why the breasts increase in size, the nipples get dark. Continue. So here we see the growth of hairs on the body, not the mustache and beards, growth of hairs in underarm and the genital areas. So these are the various changes observed. Here in case of males, the onset of production of male gametes takes place in the testis. Similarly, in females also, the female reproductive cells are produced, released. Actually, in case of females, by birth they will be having number of female cells in their ovaries. But at this age, at the time of sexual maturity, these reproductive cells mature and they are released. The release of ova is initiated by some kind of process called as menstruation. So the onset of menstruation is an indication. It shows that the egg cells are released in the females. Menstruation starts in the girls. So these are the changes. All these changes do not happen at a single time in a single person. These changes may happen slowly, take some months. So you are aware of the changes that are happening in your bodies. Sometimes at this age, the people are worried, tensed. Some of the adolescents, when they find some pimples, they are tensed and worried. They feel that something happens to their body. Some people, when they see that the beards are grown, they feel shy. They cannot go and play with other children. Some people, they are worried why the beards are not grown. They may feel that they have some problem in their bodies. It is because these events are based on hormones. Hormones are controlled by our genes. So it will not happen similarly for all the people. It is different for different people. Depends upon the production of hormone in their body. It depends upon the genes that are present in their body and of their parents. Some people will have very thin hair on their face even. Some people will have very less beard, less number of hairs. Some people will have very thick beard, very stiff hairs, very thick mustache. Some people may have very less. So it is not a problem. It doesn't mean that the sexual maturity is not being attained. So here, the people, those who are in adolescent stage, they need not worry about all the changes here. So all these changes are given in your books. They are brought to your notice, that is to remove the ambiguity in your minds. Because You may be gathering such information from your friends, which is very confusing and not appropriate. So you will be having faulty assumptions, wrong assumptions about your growth patterns. So that is the reason why this adolescent education and these concepts are given in your books. That is to make you aware of your body, the changes that takes place in your body. So all these changes are very natural. So one need not worry about the changes, okay, these changes are not happened to me. And one need not worry, oh, all these changes are happened to my body is changed. So you need not worry. This is a very natural thing which happens because your body is attaining sexual maturity. Your body is attaining. It doesn't mean that you have not completely attained the sexual maturity. A girl who is able to menstruate and produce the egg cells, very soon she cannot participate in reproduction. It will adversely affect her health, physically as well as mentally. So, it needs some time for the complete maturation of our systems. So, it is the onset, starting of the sexual maturation. Your body must be completely grown up. Your mind also must be completely grown up. That is for the production of babies. That is to reproduce.